they choose. And thank you very much, Renata. We are recording the meeting today for multiple purposes. One, for all of our reference, if we have any desire to go back at all and look if we missed something. For posting later, if people who could not join either of the chats and want to, they hear about it from you and they get interested and they want to join it, so then they will have the opportunity. So that will be great. And as we take notes, and Helen Danby has agreed today to take some notes for us for this workshop. Then we'll combine the notes with the one we do next week, and we'll do one summary so that each of the 3 different workshops will have a summary of the notes that will go out and be posted afterwards. So that's the reason for the recording today. We just like to introduce ourselves quickly before we get into it. I'm Karen Dalton. I am a member of IODE Eldon House in London, Ontario, and currently the new president of IODE Canada. We've got a phenomenal board of directors that's composed of both officers and provincial presidents. And I'm happy as my co-facilitator today to have Janis Ogilvie with me. And Janis, I'll let you introduce from whence you come.
Yes. Well, first of all, good morning from Calgary, because it is still morning here. And I am the president of Colonel James McLeod chapter in Calgary. I am also president of IODE Alberta.
So thank you. So Janis and I have teamed up today from our different perspectives to bring you this workshop. And it is truly going to be an interactive chat. It is not going to be Janis and I talking to you about leadership and how to get more people involved. It's going to be all of us coming up with the ideas that we've heard of, we've tried, we maybe want to try, we've heard about. And we will definitely depend on you today to create the content for what we're going to end up with at the end of the day. Renata, can you just throw the agenda up on the screen for us for a minute, please, so we can take a look at where we're going? I know it was sent out to you, but I just want to review with you that this is how we're going to proceed today. In a minute, we're going to share our definition of leadership just for the purpose of this workshop. It's not the be all and the end all, it's just for today. Then we're going to think about, as a group, what the benefits and challenges are in taking on leadership tasks in IODE. From there, we're going to slide into why is it so important for all of us to foster that leadership. Then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of today. And the meat and potatoes is what we really want you to go away with. And that's what suggestions and strategies do we have as a group of 14 of how to develop that IODE leadership in whatever IODE situation you're in. And then finally, we're just going to do a little consolidation about what has resonated with us as we've listened to our fellow members. So thank you, Renata, very much. And next, will you put up there the definition for today? And I must say thank you to Renata for being our techie today and doing all the screen sharing. That means Janis and I can concentrate on the participants. All right, this is what Janis and I have put together for today. It's the leadership is the taking of responsibility and initiative for a task that may be very large, such as an officer or convener's position, or very small, such as a task within a chapter project, or collecting your flower fund, or bringing the standards to every meeting. It could be as small as that or as large as an officer. All right, so we're looking at the whole spectrum. Thanks, Renata, very, very much. You will need a pen or pencil and some paper to write on today, because we are going to ask you to write, we're going to ask you to think, and then we're going to ask you to share. So if you don't have something handy, if you could just grab something somewhere from around your desk so that you have that. And the last thing before I turn over to Janis is just want you to remember, because this is an interactive chat, there are no right or wrong answers this afternoon or this morning if you're in BC or Alberta. This is about sharing ideas and trying to percolate or be the catalyst for more ideas. And so nothing is off the table. Anything's possible. I will ask you to make sure that your microphone is muted, and so we don't get any feedback or any noise. And then, but definitely we are going to be asking all 14 of us to share. So you make sure you've got that finger ready to go down to your reaction or go up to unmute yourself so that you're all ready to do that. All right. So I'm going to turn it over to Janis. Janis, benefits and challenges. It's all yours.
Thank you, Karen. Just before I get started, on the bottom corner of my screen, it says IODE Canada, but there's no name. And I'm wondering who that is, because I want to be able to call people by name.
Renata. I think it's Renata.
Renata, sorry. Okay, that's great. Thank you. So everybody has their paper handy, because now you've got to think. So on your own, and you have 1 minute to do this, I'd like you to list 3 benefits that come to mind of taking on a leadership role. 3 benefits.
There's your time, Janis.
Okay, thank you. All right. Now, I would like you to write down 1 challenge of having a leadership task or role.
Time.
I forgot to tell you, I had only 30 seconds for that one.
Yeah.
Thank you for timing, because I keep getting to look at the second hand on my watch. Okay, so I have you up on a certain order on the screen here, just how you came in. So I'm going to do that as my order. It might not be what you're seeing on the screen. So right now, what I would like you to do is to quickly share with us 1 benefit that you've thought of without repeating what someone else has already said. You've got 3 to choose from, so probably you have one that's different. Don't want an explanation. I just want an idea of what you consider to be a benefit of taking on a leadership role. Let's start with Diane.
Well, that was rigged.
You have to unmute.
That was rigged. Benefit learning and growth of self.
Okay. Michelle.
I wrote satisfaction and fun of being involved.
Okay, you're writing this down, right, Karen? So that
I am, and Helen is. So you don't have to. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Kathy. Oh, you're on mute.
Make use of skill that you have or develop that skill.
All right. Linda Greiner.
Gives you the opportunity to help move the organization or the chapter forward.
Carol with an E.
Right. Morning. I had one that potentially meet other IODE members.
Great. Helen.
Explore new ideas.
All right. Christy.
Well, as being new, I look towards the current leaders to help, guide me in the right direction, help, teach me what's, I don't know what to say. They just help me, guide me, and things that I don't know. They have the experience. That's what I look to someone like Helen for.
Okay. Yep. And we hope that you will take a leadership role at some point once you're comfortable with it. Lois.
So it's pushing me to challenge self. I'm weak on some skills, so I'm learning them.
And you are.
And enjoying it.
Good. Colleen. You're on mute. And actually, you can leave yourself off mute for this part because I'm going to be asking you questions.
I had all of the answers above that everyone shared, but I believe that sharing to gain knowledge and impact and promoting IODE is why I enjoy the leadership part of this organization.
Laura, or is it Laura Jean? Sorry.
Laura Jean.
Okay.
I was thinking that this way I would get to interact with all the members of the chapter and hear all their ideas, all their pros, all their cons, and hear from everybody.
Okay. Shirley Ann.
So, being the last jewel that joined this crown today, I think everything that I had put down has been mentioned, but I said, my wording was a little different. Mentoring, challenging, and belonging to a sisterhood.
Oh, right. Very good. And Renata, last but not least.
I wrote down willingness, privilege, and time.
All right. And I guess, Karen, you should also, you have ideas too.
Oh, let's see what's different. Oh, to be more fully engaged in the group itself.
Oh.
Not sitting on the sidelines, just being an observer.
Okay. And I had written down as well, again, the same. A lot of you had the same wording or slightly different. I put down using personal expertise. Okay, so now you have is there anybody who has another one that they want to share? I think thank you everybody for sharing, but if you have one that's different from what's been shared and we should share it. I thought.
Janis, just one, drawing the best out of others.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah. They were all excellent ideas, and I can't remember if Karen said this there's no right or wrong answers to any of the questions we're asking today. We are sharing our thoughts and hopefully learning from it. So the second thing I asked you to write down was your challenge. What is the challenge about taking on a leadership? And I'm just going to go around basically in the same order. And again, you can pass if somebody has already said what you were going to say. So Diane, we're going to start again, and everybody can unmute.
Push back on ideas and change.
Okay. Michelle.
Not knowing all the processes and rules, especially the unwritten ones, i.e., this is how it is done or how we do things.
Uh-huh. I've heard those phrases. Kathy.
Encouraging others to take positions of leadership. For example, if you have a, executive that every position's filled and the people are doing it well, people don't want to step up and let those people have a break.
Okay. Linda.
I think basically I have the same one that Diane had. Some are not allowed to contribute their ideas or their own thoughts in some of the processes, and that's about all I could think of.
Carol.
I had realizing that you're not going to make everybody happy, and that sometimes, and we don't all agree on decisions sometimes, but we have to be respectful of one another and do the best for the group.
Okay. Helen.
I had doing annual reports.
Yep. That could be a whole conversation, a whole chat in and of itself, isn't it? Christy.
Well,
you haven't taken a position, but other areas where you've been. Yeah.
Well, me personally, I think I'm shy. So that seems like such a prominent role. When I've had to stand up and discuss in front of the group, I talk so fast, but I've made notes over and over and over and over and over again of what I have to say. So it just makes me very anxious. And yeah, because I'm new, I don't want to step on any toes or say the wrong thing or not know some of those unwritten rules. And so,
Christy, I think you summed it up for your note takers beautifully in saying being shy. I think that was perfect because it takes
take
in
a deep breath.
Yeah.
There. Thank you. Lois.
Well, it's the paperwork for me. And to make sure how much of the story and how little, the story behind what you're wanting to do, and the important follow-up, the results of it, and that make sure that information is out so that we're not just doing, and not taking the benefit of the product that we have completed.
Okay. Colleen.
I am struggling with getting all members to understand the IODE purpose, constitution, and affirmation. A lot of my members have joined because they think it's just a thrift store, like any other thrift store, which this is not. This is promoting a very special sense of the community. IODE.
Thank you. Laura Jean.
Well, one of the challenges, resolving differences, listening to all the, of course, all the different views and coming to a decision.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry.
No, were you done? Oh, okay. Shirley Ann.
I wrote mine down way up in the middle. Oh, leadership fatigue. Not getting people to take on positions of leadership and having the same bucket of volunteers doing the same jobs or shifting from job A to job B, back to job A to job C. That leadership fatigue is real. I mean, it's critical, I think.
Renata.
Funny, I wrote down the same word for question 1 and question 2, time.
Okay.
It's either on our side or it isn't on our side. And the other problem is not completing their tasks or following through on their action.
Okay. Karen.
Okay, just a sec. I have to write follow through before I forget it.
Okay.
What did I write down here? Oh, people not being comfortable to take the lead because they don't feel that they have enough skills to do the job.
All right. And I have to say every one of the things that you've said, because I've been president of a couple of different times. I've heard every one of those, or I have felt every one of those things. But the one that I really, and I can't remember exactly who said it, it was, but we've always done it this way.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes to get people to realize that, well, yeah, and sometimes that's okay. Other times, no, we need to change. And that's the role of the president or the officer in charge of that. Thank you. Excellent.
Janis,
Excellent.
can I just say something? Can I just say something, Shirley-Ann? The unwritten and the written procedures and how we always do it. I just got off a telephone call with someone, and we were discussing something, and I won't give you the details of it. Well, it's always been done that way. And I said, but it doesn't mean that it's right or that it's current.
Yeah.
Well, then you better take it to the membership.
Talk about timely.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my. Well, yes. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. And on that note, I'm sending this back to Karen to the next section.
I think
that's how we're going to do it.
That's how we're going to do it. I think what we've heard is there's this real yin and yang when it comes to leadership tasks within any IODE group. You have endless benefits. And it was really wonderful listening to that because it made me feel really good that we've got so many people on screen that really do understand that you get out of IODE much more than you put in. And that really made it wonderful to hear. And then we got the challenges, and the challenges were so real. Like they're just those everyday things we run into. And it's, like we said, how many times have we heard, well, we don't do it that way. So now let's think a little bit about why then it's so important to foster IODE leadership. What is it because we want people to benefit? Is it because the challenges are so big that if we don't spread the wealth, we're going to, be exhausted? So why is that so important? And Janis and I challenged each other to try to articulate it before we give you time to think about that. We really challenged each other. We've talked 3 times before today. And even last night when we talked, we said, have you come up with yours yet? And the best way I can put it is to why I think it's so important to foster IODE leadership is because when you can create a collaborative sharing of responsibility, then energy and initiatives grow and are sustained within the group. It's not just 1, 2, or 3 people. Like Shirley-Ann, I could have kissed you when you said, oh, the same people just doing the same thing over and over again. And we all know that. So that's what I've come up with. I think that sort of puts my philosophy of why it's so important into a nutshell. I'm going to say it again because I keep changing it. And it's that when you can create an atmosphere of collaborative leadership, then the energy in the group can be multiplied and sustained better. I guess I put on the end. So that's sort of what my philosophical thing was after Janis and I sort of mulling this through over the last couple of weeks. So Janis, you want to, I'll be interested to see where you've come up with today,
Oh, yeah.
this morning, because we've really talked about this.
Just
Go ahead.
some of the words I was going to say. But anyway, the bit about the sharing of the workload. And it's because everybody has different skills.
Yeah.
And some of them don't realize they have those skills. Christy, I'm sure, you said you're shy, but I'm sure put in the right position at the right time, you have those skills. Lois keeps putting herself down because she finds the paperwork difficult. And I'm good friends with Lois, so I can say that.
Yeah.
But man, oh man, she does a good job because she's taken her skills and she's built on them. And that is one of the things that we need to do, is to, as a leader, be it the president or the service officer or whatever, is you listen, you watch, and you try to pull that skill out of them. Give them a task that they can be successful at, and then you can move on to something else. That's my thought.
Thank you, Janis. Now, we have had the advantage of having about the last 10 or 12 days to think about what we came up with. We're not going to ask you to disclose today unless you want to later on. But right now, we would like you to take 1 minute and just silently think, write it down, think it. Why do you personally think that it's so important to foster leadership in IODE for your particular situation? So just take 1 minute and we'll get back at it again. Okay, thank you very much. Now, with that context in mind, or what you've thought about for the first half hour today, I'm going to turn it over to Janis to get us going on the meat and potatoes of what we really came here for. Janis?
Okay. So you've had a chance to write down some personal reflections or beliefs that you have with regards to fostering IODE leadership. What suggestions or strategies do you know of regarding how to develop the needed IODE leadership for both large and small leadership positions? We're not just talking about the president. We're talking about officers and then conveners and any little small thing you can take leadership on. I'll repeat that if you want. What suggestions or strategies do you know of regarding how to develop that needed IODE leadership within your chapter or a chapter? And this time I'm not going to call on you. I want you to volunteer.
And it doesn't matter how tiny the suggestion is. It doesn't have to be a full-fledged plan. It can be one little tiny little thing that you know of that gets someone in your chapter involved.
Can I go first, Janis?
Yes, that was
Shirley Ann.
Okay.
One word, mentoring.
Mentoring.
Small word, but big impact.
That is true.
I'd like to follow that up with the mentoring and the results of seeing the growth in others when given the opportunity. So it's good for you if you're the mentor, and it's wonderful to see them
Exactly.
growth,
Okay.
the growth
So
in
that's
them.
so mentoring is the key word there, both Shirley Ann and Lois said. And when you're mentoring, then you can see the growth in what in there. Yeah. Excellent.
If I could speak next.
Just, I think
Can I ask you to?
I'm going to pause for just 1 second. If you want to use a hand up, because I see Michelle has had her hand up for right from the beginning, and that's great because so many of us are just used to using our hands up. Just go down to your reaction button, and we love the participation. We just, yeah. And if you click on that heart at the bottom, you'll see an icon come up that says raise hand. Click on the raised hand and up you come. And then you jump into the top left corner and Janis will see you. And so there's another little hint there when we're doing this for when it's on a volunteer basis. All right.
When you,
thank you.
When you do that,
thank you. I didn't know where it was.
Speaking, you'll see the leave hand or whatever
Yeah.
the terminology is. And then
sorry for interrupting you, Colleen,
No,
but I
that's good. I didn't know where that hand was. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so Michelle's up first in my right hand or left hand corner, whatever. Michelle.
Sometimes we just need to ask people. People show what skills they have, and sometimes they just need the encouragement and support by asking them if they're interested in an officer position or convener position.
Okay. Colleen.
Okay, mine is mentor was my first number, which has already been spoken about. My next is be enthusiastic of IODE. And I've also encouraged my people to please let me know if they need help in any way whatsoever. And I can certainly be there for them to encourage them to try and jump ahead and do an officer's position. No officer position is a difficult position. It's a position that needs to be done. And it's a fun position. I think all of them are fun positions to do. And that sums it up.
Okay, thank you. Kathy.
Mine is again on the mentoring, but what we've done is we have had co-presidents for several years now, particularly because newer members are willing to take on that role, and it's a 2-year position, so that they're not alone doing it. They've got somebody that they're comfortable doing it with. We also have an assistant officer for every officer. So education has an assistant education, and so they're being mentored to move up, hopefully. And finally, even our fundraising projects, we've gone to a co-convener running of our fundraisers. That's it.
Thank you. Laura Jean.
I'm thinking along the same lines as the mentoring, and I was just thinking pairing, even with some of the other offices. Pairing, it lowers the anxiety level, perhaps, of the responsibility, especially with a new member. And so they learn the ropes, feel more comfortable with it, and are then perhaps more willing to take on an office.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you. Any else? Anything else or anyone else? Oh, come on now. I don't think there are any people in this.
Carol has her hand up, Janis.
Carol.
You're on mute.
A lot of my thoughts have already been discussed, but I know in my own chapter, we have a group of women who anyone could be a great president, but no one will take it. And I've seen this happen to chapters in the province over the last 10, 15 years, where a president passes away and nobody thinks they can do the job. And that's the end of the chapter. And it seems so sad to me that we don't, why people feel that way. And that we somehow need to, we've done co-chairing in our chapter as well, but every year we ask again, you know, would someone like to take the position? And Jane's had it now for at least 10 years. She was our first regent, and then we did have a group of us that went through as regents and then presidents, but now we're stuck in that place. And that we have to find a way to make it not seem like it's a huge job, because if you're an organized person and you can put an agenda together and keep track of things like that, it is not a huge problem. And we somehow have to get past this word president being so onerous. And I think working collaboratively really can allow us to go a long way and for people to get comfortable, but they just have to take that step.
Linda.
Yes, I feel it's important to foster the leaders in our organization because we learn to work as a team. And when you work as a team, you have fun. And when the members see you're having fun, they're inspired. And they, and they probably won't hesitate to take a position. When sometimes when we're in a leadership role, we forget about the primary chapter members. It seems like we put ourselves in a different echelon of the organization. Now, our primary chapters are the grassroots of our organization, and we have to make ourselves approachable and available to them.
I like that, approachable. Thank you, Linda. Helen.
Well, guess I better put my...
Okay, I think each leader has their own leadership style. And so therefore, when that person comes forward to take a position, we have to get rid of the negative Nancy's or, and get rid of, oh, we always did this way, because that can be almost intimidating to some of the new leaders or some of the new people coming forward. So it's like, okay, if you are going to be if we want this person to be a leader, we're going to accept the way that they do the leadership, as opposed to having it always done a certain way.
All right, there's that. We've always done it that way. It's real. It really is. Anybody else with some ideas? A few of you we haven't heard from. Oh, sorry, Karen.
No, that's okay. I was, if there was someone else. I just want to enlarge on what a couple people have said. The idea of assistant officers and co-officers and co-conveners and assistant conveners is a superb idea. But then, as someone said, I think it was Carol York, we ask and we ask and we ask, and we get nobody to say, oh yeah, I'll be a co-convener, I'll be an assistant. So perhaps what we have to do when we make the ask, and somebody at the very beginning said, just ask, maybe we have to define what we're asking for and make it smaller at first. So let's say I'm education officer in my primary chapter, but I'm really want out. Like, I've had it for a long time and I want someone else to take it over. Maybe we can ask the chapter, will someone help Karen with education? Okay, we're not asking them to take on a big job, but we're asking them to help. And then the next question might be, if you're not getting anything, would someone help Karen with dealing with the Laurier bursary every year and the communication that has to go on with the Laurier bursary? And then you get someone to take on a specific task. Or is there someone in the group that can help Karen with the multiple places they've got to go in the spring to present awards? So we can have two people running around the city doing that. And then maybe it's not so daunting of a leadership role of taking charge, but someone can feel really good and comfortable about doing a specific task. And I think if you break it down, you know, the old adage about how do you eat an elephant? Eat it one bite at a time. That if we give people little bites to be in charge of, then maybe their confidence grows. The other thing I wanted to enlarge on, which I was so glad to hear it about the assistant role. I'm going to take it one step further. It works if you can convince someone who doesn't think they have the skills to be secretary to be assistant secretary. And listen, just fill in for me and just take scribble notes when I can't be there. I'll do up the minutes, whatever it is, until they get comfortable with the format of the chapter and everything. But then when they finally agree to be secretary, don't leave them hanging. Say, listen, here's my deal. If you will take the secretary on now, I'll be your assistant and I'll be your backup. So if you can't be at a meeting, I'll take the minutes for you. So that the mentor thing goes full circle, or the assistant thing goes full circle. First, you're mentoring and getting them comfortable with the job, but then you're not going to let them go. You're going to stick around and be their assistant after that. So those are the sort of two expansions of those ideas that I really liked hearing the ideas. Thanks, Janis.
Thank you, Karen. Linda.
I'm sorry to speak again, but I just got thinking
that's
good. That's okay. That it all starts with your nominating committee. I feel that whoever takes the post of the nominating committee should have a good knowledge of the different positions and be upfront with the person that you're talking with, and try and listen to them, understand, and have a real tactful conversation with them. When I was nominating committee, for example, in our virtual chapter, I saw the possibility of like the current president right now. And I know she has only been there for 2 years, but with also assuring her that we will mentor and that there are a lot of other members who could mentor her. I think she was quite eager to take the position. But first of all, you got to have a good nominating officer, I believe. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Colleen.
I just want to follow up on what Karen was talking about with mentorship. We had that happen recently in our chapter. Our secretary took a bit of a leave, a 4-month leave, and I had to find a replacement for someone that would be willing to jump in and do that. It was very difficult. No one wanted to. So I approached one lady who she comes to the occasional meetings. I know she's knowledgeable of doing this type of thing. She's been involved in other situations, and she kindly took it over with my assistance. I explained to her that I will you just be there to do what has to go into the meetings at our meeting, and I will do up the first format for you. And so far it's been working fine until our new secretary returns. So there you go. It was forced upon a person somewhat, but that person felt comfortable because she knew someone was there to help her. Total mentorship is 100% of what our organization, our primary chapters need to follow.
Thank you, Colleen.
And I liked the idea also of what was just said about the nomination committee. That's a very important committee, and that committee needs to be knowledgeable of all their members. and knowledgeable of how to approach those members correctly and interact with them. Thank you, Linda, for that.
Thank you, Colleen. Helen.
I think it's important too, if you're, and I'm thinking too of the nominating committee, if you're asking someone to take on a job, that you give them sort of like a job description, but then sometimes the job description may seem overwhelming. So you say, well, if you take on this job, I know the person that has it right now will give you all the notes that she has and help you all the way along. Because I know that's very valuable. I'm going to use Karen for an example. I just stepped into National Education Office, and Karen, as past education officer, has sent me all the notes, all the contacts, everything I need to know. So it's one step easier. You're not reinventing the wheel. And so that's important. I know Linda did that for me too, and I hopefully did that for Michelle. I don't know. But yes, it's one of those where share your experience with the person and do it on a continuous base, not just say, oh, here they are. That's it. So I guess that's a lot.
Hi, I'm going to Hawaii, right? Yeah, kind of thing. Okay. So just a couple of things, and all these ideas are great. I just want to throw out something. In some cases, you have quite large chapters, quite a few members, and that seems to be easier to rotate members through. In some cases, not necessarily. But when you've got a smaller chapter, and especially when we've got, I'm talking about my own chapter right now. We've got 13 people. 2 of them are 90 and have held all the positions in the past, but don't feel that they can, but they still want to come and they have excellent ideas. So then we're down to 11 people possibly to take the position. I need some advice on how we deal with that, but also, and I checked this with Karen, what are the mandatory offices that you must have to run your chapter? You need a treasurer, you need a secretary, and you need a president. The secretary and treasurer can be the same person if they choose to be. The others are optional. So, for example, and Colonel James McLeod, nobody wanted to take on education. We have a services person. Some of our services projects could be classed as education. And when it comes to filling out the annual reports, those dreaded annual reports, she filled out the education one and plucked in what's there. But we do not technically have a education officer, nor a standard bearer for that position. That's just food for thought there. Anybody have any suggestions? Any ideas beyond that? Or what you haven't said so far? Because your ideas have all been excellent. Helen. Oh, you're on mute.
I remember when our chapter had a problem with having a president. And so the past presidents, we took 4 of them and we split the year up. So really it was just 2 meetings per person in order to have everything running. And we did that for 1 year. And then after that, somebody stepped forward. So we just used the past presidents because, as you say, the agendas basically don't change a whole lot. And it's just the input there. So that seemed to help.
Excellent idea, except my past president moved to the Okanagan. So, Colleen.
I find with our chapter, if I can gather up the herds for officer reports, and we have a meet and greet at my house, because some of them don't have a computer and they feel that they are not knowledgeable enough to complete the reports. We just get together and do them all together. And with some of the reports requiring the same numbers, for instance, some services and treasury report require the same number in a couple of cases. That's a good way to not mess up once they're sent away to national. And then you get a call back saying, well, this report doesn't match this report. Why? Right? So it's more comforting for those who are not sure of filling out their annual reports. For those who don't like to do annual reports and feel and need to, it's just a reassurance to do it as a group. Get your officers together and get them all done at the same time and have fun doing it. We've done that in the past and it has worked. I've done them all myself in the past at one point with references to each of the officers. And I didn't get a lot of feedback. However, I kind of reviewed everything for the whole year and reviewed the reports previous and put it together, and it flew. So doing it together eases the burden on those who are unsure in our chapter anyway. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thanks. Karen.
I just thought of something, Janis, as you were talking. One thing I've seen happen successfully in the past is taking the president who's been in their role a very long time, and if there is problems getting a really good secretary in the group, the past president takes on the secretary's role, because the secretary's role can be the biggest role in the chapter, or the most daunting one, depending on the dynamics of your chapter and who you have. If the president steps back for a year or two as secretary and you convince someone else to come in the president's chair and say, listen, I'll be there guiding you all the way. I'll do the agenda for the meeting and I'll do the minutes and I'll be right there with you while you learn the task. I'll be whispering in your ear from the front table. I've seen that work before. But again, it depends on what the president's skills are, whether they're comfortable taking on the secretary's role, and whether or not you can find somebody under those conditions. But I have seen that work before. So it's the same thing with treasurer. Sometimes it's the treasurer's position you just can't find and you have to have it. So then sometimes a president who's been around for a while can take that role on and do the same thing, for support. But it all depends on, I know. It all depends on what skills there are. And when we get through this little business about giving some advice on when you've only got a few people in the chapter, I'd really like to hear how people introduce someone to a task through a small task in the chapter. What kinds of things do you give them to, cut their teeth on before you ask them as a new member to be an officer? Yeah, I'd be interested in knowing that one too. Thanks, Janis.
Okay. Laura Jean, sorry.
Our chapter is pretty much in the same situation as yours. We only have, on a good day, maybe 10 or 11 members. Most of the officers are quite happy to stay in the positions they have, which is lucky. Once in a while, there's a bit of a shift. One member was treasurer for quite a while. Then she switched with another member who became treasurer. And actually, she became president last year, the first treasurer, for a couple of years. And someone else, I was education and standard bearer. And then I became president. She became education officer. So we kind of shift around. But most people are happy to stay in the position they have for a while. Every once in a while there's a shift. but everybody seems happy with it.
Well, and if everybody's happy, that's good.
Yeah, we have one member who, well, she's 100. She turned 100 last year. So she still attends most of the meetings, often on Zoom, but we do get her out to some of the meetings, and she quite enjoys it. And she has been a very active member for many years, both locally and provincially. So yeah, we're happy to have her.
Great. Any other comments or suggestions?
Lois's hand is up.
Oh, Lois. It's amazing how I know the hand's there to tell me that it's there, but I don't see it.
Some of the problems that we're having is some of our members in leadership don't have a computer, aren't computer, and they don't have any of the more techie part of it. So it is extremely difficult for that. And a lot of them don't want to step forward because of that.
Yeah.
And when the people don't have it, then there's someone else who's probably already got a position is doing sort of double. But as long as we can keep both of them happy, I guess that's okay. And how can you solve that? You just can't, other than offering that you'll mentor and do the computer work for them.
That's true. Karen.
But sometimes those individuals can do something else as well. Like they can still lead, but they can't do the techie stuff. They can't, but they can do. Now, your 100-year-old person is a totally different story because you've got to find tasks for them that they can do sitting down and, that are small and that are on their own. But we do have a person in our chapter who is young and she's not 100. She's vibrant and a go-getter and a, real wonderful member, but does not even own a computer. But she does our correspondence, all of our written and mailing correspondence. She does a lot of our running around to schools and, does a lot of that kind of stuff. She goes out and does a lot of the buying. She'll do, she does so much, but it's a little bit here, a little bit there, but nothing to do with computers. But it's hard because it is a computer age. So you're absolutely right. Yeah.
But it's as we did our definition of leadership. There's big tasks and there's little tasks, and she's willing to do the going out and buying whatever you need for a particular project or that kind of thing, which you can do without a computer. So.
And she will never, ever miss a work meeting ever, unless she's in Bermuda for the month of February.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's committed, but she'll begin to learn a computer. Yeah. So it's hard.
The other problem we have a bit of is there are many members in our chapter who love to travel and are away. But this is where the co-chairs or co-secretary or whatever would come in very handy. That someone else can step in and do it when they happen to be off in Japan or wherever. Linda.
Talking about leadership, it just came to mind when I was provincial president and I had a chance to communicate with some of the primary chapters. There was just one thing that really stood out in my mind, that very, very few primary chapters really know who all are in the leadership positions, both in the provincial and national. And I was just wondering if maybe this should be something that should be considered if officers or those in the leadership roles would reach out to the primary chapters, because I think they feel like they're all alone. A lot of them feel that they should be alone, but they have to be part of our organization. And if the national and the provincial leaders would reach out to them, introduce themselves, Because I remember I went to one and they thought I was the national president, and that I came from Toronto. But that's, it's, I think we need to have a connection with them. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Anything else? Okay, I think what I'm going to do is hand this back to Karen.
Okay. First of all, I want to I'll do a little thing with that reaction button again. So get your cursor ready and to go over that reaction button and click on your reaction button. And the first one, I want you to look for the thumbs up icon, which on my screen is in the top second from the left. I don't know if it's the same on everyone's screen. All right, so you found that. Oops, somebody's found it. Good. Now, I'm going to ask you a question and push that thumbs up if it applies to you. So I'm going to ask you to click on the thumbs up if you found a suggestion today that might benefit your IODE group or that you're going to think about some more. Just click on that thumbs up if. I love all these little like bubbles that come up with it. That's great. Okay. I think that's pretty indicative of what kind of participation we got. And we got to our 2 o'clock time, and I didn't even have time to really delve into my issue of trying to break someone in with little easy tasks before we go after them for a convener or an officer role. So I really am impressed with the number of ideas, but the thing I am most impressed with today is the fact that I'm going to take away with me is really see how at the primary level can we do even more at the mentoring. And I don't mean just the concept of it, but I'm talking about the fact of how do we put it into action so somebody feels there is an open door. Someone mentioned that you're always there to support them, that there is an open door and that they can rely on you, and that we set up some kind of formats where it is 2 people sharing the workload as opposed to somebody being isolating on their own. And I really love the fact that there were so many of you that were using that mentoring concept as the basis for where you went with the solution to fostering leadership. So I super appreciated that today. Janis?
So if you can move from your thumbs up to the hands up icon on your reaction spot. I just have, you've been great at making suggestions and what have you. I was wondering if you had wanted to share what really resonated with you as an idea that you could use within your chapter, be that primary or even provincial, I guess, or national, and one brief reason why. Something that really resonated with you and why. Pauline?
I truly appreciate the idea of having 2 people do an officer position to share that position together, for 2 reasons. One is a mentoring, number 1. And number 2 is some of us are not here all winter to do our jobs and to get our reports to our provincials on prompt situations that they need these as well at provincial. I think that's a great idea, and I will take that back to my nomination officer to have her present that, because we don't really have a per se meeting until that happens in January, our nominations.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for those
Colleen.
suggestions. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Lois?
It was the little jobs, and maybe I'm thinking of our primary counselors that come to provincial. And if they had maybe one little job, or if we could mentor them into offering to do one little job on provincial, maybe that could be our future. So just again, mentoring the ones that sign up but do very little incoming, but maybe if they thought they had a use or they could give back in some way, maybe we could get them to move on and become a counselor at that level.
I like that idea. Your provincial president agrees with it.
She paid me to say that. No.
I'll pay you tomorrow. Christy, oh, you're on mute.
Well, first, I just want to say thank you for letting me, as a newbie, join in your group. What I realized is, the tasks are still very daunting to me, but you are all, are regular human beings, and you have the same, if I think about ever being in such a role, not president kind of roles, but and it's like, but it seems like you have such a great network to be together, to talk things out, to, everything's not perfect. And if we can help, you have all your, your IOD friends, sisters to help you through. And just on my own personal note, the word of the day, mentorship, how it affects me is that there's everybody in my chapter is really nice to me and always very welcoming, but there's a handful that really seem to take on a mentorship role to me, and that's what means the most to me. That has sort of one lady, she said, "Hey, we're going to do the awards to the school. Come do it with me. I'll do one award, you do another award. There was 4. I'll do another, you do another." And she was right beside me the whole time. She was kind of helping me along if I had to be up, to say something. And that really meant a lot. So that, and I'm not saying I do it necessarily by myself this coming spring, but just that experience and knowing that she was right beside me to guide me. And that's just exactly what you guys have all kind of come up with. And as the new person, I just want to say that that's what, from a newbie point of view, means really the most to me, to have somebody to, to literally almost hold my hand, because everything is new, and that really meant a lot to me. And it happens in a number of different occasions. And I try to volunteer in the different groups so that if I can learn what the various service groups and things do, then maybe someday, I can take a bigger role in that. But just to be encouraged to join, to do, you can't just do it cold turkey, So that's
Christy.
Yes.
Christy, thank you for being so honest and genuine today, of sharing that new person perspective, because that's actually what this workshop's all about, is making people feel comfortable enough to take on those tasks. So we really, really appreciate your willingness to not be a wallflower, but to be a participant today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Christy. Laura Jean.
Oh, I forget what I was going to say. Oh, I know. The mentoring, I think, was, I was so interested in hearing what Christy was saying. The mentoring is what's come out most important to me. We have a new member since June, who is considerably younger than all the rest of us. And so I really like the idea of encouraging her to perhaps choose one office and work with that officer. They would all be very welcoming, and I think she would enjoy getting to, as Christy had said, getting the feel of the different offices. And she, I think, then would be more encouraged to perhaps take up something in the future.
Thank you. Kathy.
I just thought there was one thing that we forgot, and I'll say it to Janis and Karen. Thank you for your leadership through this. But one of my best memories when I was regent, of all the things that happened, I had one of our oldest members phone me the day after my first meeting as regent and commend me on how well I did. And I tried to practice that with, particularly if we've had a contentious issue or something, and you go home and you say, oh dear, what a night. But it's when another member reaches out and said, you handled it well, and keep going, you're doing a good job. And that is something that, particularly when we're in the role of president or something, we need to let the others know they're doing a great job.
So true. Thank you, Kathy. And I don't see any other hands up. I can see brains working. I can tell by the expression on faces. So before we go, I personally would like to say thank you so very much for attending this chat and for being so willing to lay it out, share the ideas, share the difficulties. That is, as Christy said, we are a sisterhood and we are willing to help each other and talk to each other. And I really appreciate what you have done today.